using the mikvah has actually increased more than ever. It's like record-breaking numbers just in the past 6 months. More women than ever are working to committing to keeping this mitzvah, even during these very difficult times. I also want to share that at the end of the last semester, when we had switched all of our regular classes to Zoom, and no one knew exactly what's going to be happening and how long this is going to be for, so we all really thought it was temporary. But at some point, we started to get this realization that who knows how long this is going to go on for, the Zoom experience. And I have a women's class, and there are most of them are sorority girls and college women. And one of them turned to me in the class at some point, and she just casually asked me what my plans were for the summer, if I was going to be teaching any classes over the summer. And normally that's not even a reality at all. We never do classes over the summer. Sometimes we have guests for Shabbos, but usually the summer is very quiet, and that's sort of when everything else sort of shuts down, except for our Shabbos meals. So, and we never even thought of any of the past years to do classes on Zoom over the summer. And now that we had this opportunity, this girl was asking me. So I thought about it. And honestly, my first thought was that who knows what the camp situation is going to be? Where are my kids going to be? I'm going to have all my kids home. I'm going to be running a camp for them. How am I going to teach classes over the summer? It's really not practical. And, I started to think, I don't want to lose out on this opportunity. So let me see what I can do. And I reached out to my fellow campus shluchos, and literally within, days, I got together a group of campus shluchos. There were 8 of us that worked very hard together to put together a program for college women from all over the world. And we decided that, in our minds, when we were sitting down to plan it, that this would be for those girls who are looking for a little more learning over the summer, who may not be ready yet to commit to a full-time yeshiva program, and they can't travel because, the travel situation isn't that great right now, and whatever it is, they're kind of stuck at home. So this will be for those girls. And in our dreams, we imagined, like if each of us got a few girls together, we would have like a handful, maybe 10, 12, 15, 20 girls that would participate, and it would be something special for those neshamas. And Baruch Hashem, we did a 2-week program at the end of June, beginning of July, and over 200 college women from 80 campuses ended up joining that program. It was called Summer for the Soul, and we were so blown away. I mean, none of us could believe it. It was the shluchos themselves that were beyond inspired. I mean, we didn't know what we were going to be getting into when we started it, and we had no idea what the impact would be. So Baruch Hashem, it was an unbelievable, I don't even know how to describe it, that turned into, leading into a second session where later on in the summer, we did it again for another group of 100 college women who joined that missed the first round. But even more unbelievable was the beautiful side turn of events where we created a program for Anash girls to join in 11th, 12th, and Sem Aleph from all over the world. And that program also had over 200 Chabad women, girls that joined from all over the world, which was so inspiring, so unbelievable to be a part of, that it's just mind-blowing, unbelievable. And I mentioned how one of the Sfarim that I brought back from Crown Heights many years ago, when I first was becoming frum, was the Sefer HaSichos. And over the summer, there was one sicha that I was learning that was from there, that was specifically, I had read it in the middle of preparing one of these summer programs, and it was really focused on what is our mission to bring Mashiach in these times? What is left to do? And since we know from the Baal Shem Tov that the Baal Shem Tov asked Mashiach, when you're coming, and Mashiach said, when all of the well springs will be spread outward, and in the Sikh, the Rebbe said that, well, we've already done all of that. I mean, come on, there's so much that we've been doing with all the Rebbeim, all the work that's been done in all of the Chabad houses and all of the Shlichus. So the Rebbe said that week, that for the first time ever in the history, the Tanya was printed in Braille. And the Rebbe spoke about what Braille is, how it's a special language for people that don't see. And he talked about how the printing of the Tanya in Braille enabled those people who normally would have to rely on learning Tanya from some other party, would now be able to have the ability to do that themselves. And what an amazing tool that was in Hafatzas HaMayanos. And I was thinking so much about these times that there are literally people who, I mean, we as campus shluchim, we are pulling teeth to try to get people to come to classes and get people to learn and get interested in coming more than for the free food, but to do more in their Yiddishkeit. And over this experience of having this experience on Zoom, we were just able to reach so many more people that normally we would not have the ability to reach. As I can see here, I'm not even following the chat, but I see there's already 500 participants here on this Zoom. And I don't know how many people we would be able to host in person in Crown Heights. And I don't think I would certainly be able to fly to Crown Heights at this time of year. So seeing all of the opportunities during this time is just tremendous and unbelievable for all of us, and should be an inspiration for everyone here. So when I think about what is our shlichus now, it's about discovering what is the final chutzah, what is the last chutzah that we didn't get to. So we have to keep looking for more and more ways that we can come together and have achdus, to be able to make Yiddishkeit accessible to everyone in the world, including even our own children. And each one of us has a big part to play in this, and we have to do the type of tshuva that comes from hashgacha pratis and perceiving elokus in everything around us. That's the hayomim of Zayin Tishrei, which is my birthday. And surely Hashem will take us out of this galus immediately and bring us into Geula. And we will see already in front of our eyes, we can see with our eyes the godliness that is around us. And may all of our eyes be opened to be able to perceive the godliness in all of our ways. We may have Mashiach now. Take a fumiyad, Mamish. Thank you so much for this chus to be here and this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Bracha. Thank you for giving us a glimpse into your wonderful, busy shlichus, and wishing you much hatzlacha. And we all should find that last chutzah and make it unchutzah, full of the Eibishter's light. Many years ago in the city of Karlin, where Reb Aaron of Karlin lived, he was a Talmid of the Mizrach Magid. At some point, there was a decree by the government that no Jews would be allowed out on the street at night. But there was one chassid, a fiery chassid of Reb Aaron, who was determined one night to go visit his Rebbe. He just had this sudden desire to see his Rebbe and to learn from his ways. And he ran out of the house holding his Sefer of Tehillim. And as he was quietly, furtively trying to get there without being noticed, he suddenly was blocked by a police officer and dumped into the town jail for going against the rule. So he's in the town jail and he's thinking to himself, well, I couldn't get to see my Rebbe, but at least I have my Sefer Tehillim. And he opened up his Tehillim and he started saying with as much kavanah as he could. But then in walked the guard and snatched the Tehillim out of his hands. And this poor chassid thinking to himself, well, let's see, we're down, we have no Rebbe, can't go to the Rebbe, don't have my Tehillim, what do we have? And he thought to himself, but wait, I'm a Jew. I have the joy of just being Jewish. And with that joy that he had, he started singing and dancing and really living that joy. Well, the guard heard all this noise coming from his cell and ran in to see what was going on and yelled at him, get out of here. We can't have any mentally unbalanced people in our jail, and sent him on his way. And of course, the thrilled chassid ran to his Rebbe, Rabbi Karlin, and told him what happened. And the Reb Aaron said to him, just from look at the power of joy and the power of joy of being Jewish, how that can get a yid out of any situation. So too we hope that our song, our joy, our song of Geula and our joy will bring us freedom. And join me, please, in welcoming Meleha and her infectious Geula song and Geula joy.
بشوش ملخام شيربان بشوش بشوش ملخام شيربان بشوش ملخام شيربان אוי 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 עומד על גג, גג בית המקדש, משמיע לישראל ויאמר בשרו שמלך המשיח בא, בשרו שמלך המשיח בא. אוי 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 עומד על גג, גג בית המקדש, משמיע לישראל ויאמר ענבים ענבים, הגיע הזמן, הגיע הזמן, גאולתכם. ואם אתם מאמינים, ואם אתם מאמינים, והוא ויורישה זורח, ענבים ענבים, הגיע הזמן, הגיע הזמן, גאולתכם. ואם אתם מאמינים, ואם אתם מאמינים, והוא ויורישה זורח.
Thank you. That was so beautiful and moving. Amen. May it come to pass. Hagia Zman Geulatchem. The Rebbe had a very special place in his heart for anything connected with his mother. And so Machon Chana was no different. In fact, the Rebbe said that he once said it for a dinner or something for Machon Chana. The Rebbe said that anyone who suspects me of being partial to Machon Chana is right. And he once told the dorm parents, Rabbi and Mrs. Gansberg, he thanked them for raising my daughters, as the term the Rebbe used. Let us welcome another special daughter of Rebbe Chana, another alumnus of Machon Chana, Mrs. Timmy Rubin. She's been a mikvah attendant in Mikvah Chayamushka in Melbourne for over 29 years, a special ed teacher, and a powerful force in sharing joy all around her. Welcome, Timmy.
Thank you so much. I didn't realize I was going to be on last. I've been colishing. Okay. Well, hi. I'll give a little bit about my background and then talk about my shlichus here in Melbourne, Australia. My background is that my parents were German Jews, that my mother's family escaped Berlin just before the war. But my father was walking with his father during Kristallnacht, and his father was so crushed that he got a burst ulcer and passed away. And his colleagues, because the grandfather that I never met was a headmaster of the Jewish school in Berlin. And so his colleagues wanted his son, his only son, to be able to say Kaddish for him. So they got him onto the kinder transport that went to England. So my parents went to England, ended up in Australia, and I was brought up here with my older sister. Lots of love in my family, but definitely colorful, no boundaries. I was a free spirit, and I loved life. I loved living on the edge, really living on the edge. But it got to the point where I got sick and tired of all the pleasures that went nowhere. To cut a long story short, through friends, I met Reb Zalman Serebrensky. I must have been in my late 20s, and he would have been about 80. And it was love at first sight. He was so kind. And when he said, "How are you?" he really meant it. And he was authentic. And he taught Tanya, Hasidus, and he believed in me when I didn't even know who I was. Sometimes you have to have somebody to believe in you, even if you don't believe in yourself. Anyway, after a year of learning Tanya and all those amazing concepts of Hashgacha Pratis and Pinta Layid and everything about the neshama, and for somebody that was so out of control to learn about the Yiddish neshama and was such a beautiful, loving man, it absolutely blew me away. Anyway, I went with friends, traveled around the world, started off in India, visited his daughter Bashi, Dolphin in Marin County, where I really fitted in because they're all a bit wacky and off the planet. And then after Marin County, I got a subway, an early flight in a subway to Crown Heights. Reb Zalman had told me about his Rebbe, even though I thought Reb Zalman was the Rebbe. Anyway, he said, no, to me. The Rebbe, he's in 770. So I took a flight, and then I took a subway. I was exhausted. It was so early. And I had a piece of paper from Bashi, and it said Kingston Avenue and Eastern Parkway. So I'm on the subway with my backpack, and it said Eastern Parkway, Brooklyn Bridge. And I said, well, one of those names is there. So I got off. And there was nothing there. There was nobody. It was about 6 o'clock in the morning. And I started walking and walking. I felt these footsteps behind me. And then all of a sudden, I thought, oh, I better go to the middle of the road. It might be safer. And then all of a sudden, I turn around and there's a boy, not my color, with a knife. And he said, give me your money. And I thought, oh my goodness, if I give him my money, it's got my passport, it's got my traveler's checks. I said, I can't. He said, give me your money. Anyway, I had around my neck, it looked like a diamond, but it wasn't. And he snatched it and I kicked him, you know where, and I fell backwards. He went off with my necklace. And all of a sudden, I was surrounded by a group of Jamaicans. And this old Jamaican guy helped me put the stuff back in my backpack, found my shoe that fell off, put me in a gypsy cab and jumped in. And he said, where are you going? And I said, Eastern Parkway and Kingston Avenue. And so he told the Jamaican taxi driver. And then all of a sudden, there I was. There was like all these Hasidim, and the taxi driver called over one of the rabbis with a long beard and yarmulke and a hat and pointed at me in the back in the car and said, take her. She's one of yours. And then the rabbi took me across the road to what was then called Mahon Chana. Now it's called Mahon Liyahadus. And I was so disheveled and exhausted, and I knocked and I went in and I said, hello, my name's Timmy Franz and I'm from Melbourne, Australia, and I've just been mugged. And there was a rabbi, I think his name was Rabbi Bell, and he took his glasses down from reading a sefer and he said, welcome to New York. So there was these secretaries. There was Mrs. Ketzman and Mrs. Halachevsky, and there was all these secretaries. And I said, hello, look, I just got here from California, and I just wondered, can I put my backpack down in the cupboard? And they said, sure. So I put it in the cupboard, And then I lay down in the cupboard and shut the door, and I went to sleep for I don't know how many hours. And then Rabbi Majeski came to open the cupboard to put his coat. And he opened the cupboard. I came rolling out. And he woke me up. And he said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm not quite sure right now. Who are you?" And he said, "My name's Rabbi Majeski. I'm the principal here. Would you like to go upstairs and join the other girls?" And I said, "Okay." So I did. And I went up, and all of a sudden, my world changed. And over the next few days, not only did I meet best friends that are still my besties now and who are on this Zoom now, but I also had teachers like Sterna Spritzer, Sterke Krinsky, Rabbi Majeski, Bela Hecht, Leah Khan, and they infused us with so much Torah, with so much knowledge. They were so inspiring. And I remember thinking to myself, I want to be like them. It wasn't easy. It was forwards, backwards. Thank God, when I was there the next day, I had to have somewhere to sleep. I couldn't be in the dorm and have a curfew after India, Europe, Israel, like traveling all around. So I went to the community council. And at the community council, there was a lady called Fruma Eunuch. And there wasn't a chair in her office. So I sat on the floor. And she said, "Hello." And I said, "Oh, look, hi. Look, I just got here. And I want to start in that seminary called Machon Chana, but I don't have where to stay. Would you, in the community council, would you know anybody?" And she said, "Who said you?" And I said, Reb Zalman Serebransky from Melbourne. And she said, "Oh, we were neighbors in Paris." She said, "Come back at 5:00. So 5:00 came. I just wandered around Kingston Avenue. I went to the bookshop, went back into her office. She took her pocketbook and she said, "Follow me." And where do you think she took me? She took me home, gave me a room, and made me give her a chazara of every class. The next day, I had my notebook and a pen, and I was all excited to start my first proper day. And I go out of her place on Empire Boulevard, and this man, from man, in a beaten up car, rolls down his window and said, "Hey, you, where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to Machon Chana." And he said, "Hop in, I'll give you a lift." And I hopped in, and it stank of gefilte fish and pickles and herring. And he goes, "My name's Shimshon Stock." And he said, "Boy, Hashem knew what he was doing when he made you." And I thought, well, there are some really colorful characters in this joint. Anyway, I went to Machon Chana, had the most incredible year, met my husband, the most incredible, deep, spiritual, beautiful man. When he was suggested, I heard that his name was Kalman. And I thought, Kalman? There's only one letter difference. Maybe this could be good. And anyway, to cut a long story short, because I don't have long, it was the best that ever happened to me, besides finding Yiddishkeit, finding my husband. Anyway, after a few kids later, Reb Salman wasn't well, and my parents were going crazy and asking me to come back. We got a bracha from the Rebbe. We went back to Australia, and lo and behold, Salman, unfortunately, I missed him by a week. So his son, Reb Arel Serebransky, took us over as our mashpia. Little did I know that he, in his incredible wisdom, was building the first set of Bor Al Gaba or Mikvaot in Melbourne with a 4-bedroom home attached so that the mikvah lady could look after women that came late. A bride that it ended up her 7th day was that night, or anything that can happen to busy women. Anyway, my husband is the one that does everything in the control room. He makes sure that the water is pristine, and I'm the one in the front. Sometimes I feel slightly embarrassed being in the mikveh room, perhaps intruding, because it's such a private time. It's the woman's time with God, and it's so personal, and it's so special, and it's enthralling. It's also enthralling. But I try and disappear in my mind until it's time for her to say the bracha. And then when she says the bracha, and I say, kasha, 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 kasha v'yasha, I imagine that Hashem is taking a chatzitza of me, and that every time she immerses, that every time she toivels, and that Hashem is enveloping her and purifying her. I imagine and I sense that my tshuva is going deeper and deeper and deeper every time she plunges into the water. It's such a gift. It's such a gift to be part of a mitzvah so holy, so integral to Yiddishkeit. So when it's not COVID time, and it's time for the woman to come out of the mikveh water, I hold up the robe, I put it around her, and I touch her on both cheeks, and I try to envision and sense which bracha she needs. It's shlichus that came on a silver platter that has my husband and I do as a team. It's our baby, besides our other 4 babies that are adults now. And it's a gift to be able to welcome and to nurture every woman that enters the Chaya Mushkish Nesa Mikvah in Melbourne, Australia. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Timmy. Matzlacha in your holy work.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to share, there's something called the Mashiach Project. They have asked me to share something with you, which I will share now. The Rebbe urged all of us to learn and spread in Inyane Mashiach and Geula, specifying that this is the Derech HaYashar to bring Mashiach, since only through our learning can we fully grasp how to live with Geula and make it a reality. The Welcome Mashiach campaign is devoted to maintaining a Mashiach momentum through providing educational resources, arranging activities, and most of all, spearheading a huge network of Neshei U'Bnei Yisrael who are machazik each other in the final shluchos the Rebbe entrusted us with to prepare ourselves and the world to be makabel Pnei Mashiach Tzidkenu. They warmly invite you to join their WhatsApp group, admin posts only, with ongoing posts of shiurim and tidbits about Inyanei Mashiach and Geula. For information or to get involved, contact Basia Rabashkin, 917-676-9620. Perhaps someone who is from the Mashiach group can post this on the chat now. If not, I will try to do that shortly. Or Rifki Katz at 323-495-3010. Again, if anyone's on who can post these numbers, that would be great. Or copy and paste the link we will post. Oh, it says, or copy and paste the link we will post on the Zoom chat. Machatzlacha and Mashiach now. We will close with the story of Beryl, who was a chassid of the Chayza of Lublin, the local Botlin. He would spend his whole day in shul davening and learning, and he was able to survive really only because once in a while, his rich brother Shmuel would give him some money to cover his basic expenses. As time went on, Beryl's 3 daughters reached marriageable age, and his wife started pleading with him that he should ask Shmuel for some money to be able to marry them off. Eventually, he gave in. Leaving his poor neighborhood on his way to his brother's house, which was located on the other rich side of town, Beryl had plenty of time to think. Different doubts started to rise in his mind. Maybe Shmuel's not home, and if he is home, maybe he doesn't have the money to give me. He never really approved of Beryl's way of life. And even if he is home, and even if he does have the money, maybe he's not going to want to give it to me. With these thoughts, he approached Shmuel's house. Walking up the steps to the house, he was thinking, but wait, there is someone who's always home, who has what to give, and who wants to give. Why am I coming here? Beryl turned around and went straight home. Coming home, to his surprise, he found the house empty. A few hours later, his wife came home with a large sum of money and told the following story. Right after you left on your way to Shmuel's house, a fancy carriage pulled up at the door, and a few noble people started to knock on the door. When I opened it, they told me that the parrots had gone mad, and being that the regular doctors weren't able to help, they wanted me to come and heal him. I tried to tell him that I'm not a miracle worker. All I do is upsprechen ayin haris. I just get rid of ayin haris and whatever methods I know, but they didn't listen. So having no choice, I went along. And when I came to the parrots, I did what I know how to do. And guess what? To my great surprise, he regained his senses. Thanking me for my work, he rewarded me with this huge sum of money. Now we can marry off our daughters and support ourselves for a long time. Wow, what a story, Beryl thought. He decided he's going to travel to his Rebbe and tell him the whole thing. As soon as he walked in to have a yechidus, the chayza said to him, welcome, Beryl. He's home. He has what he has, and he wants to give. May the power of our chassidus of our bring blessing to us all and to our families, our family of chassidim, our family of Klal Yisrael. And may we merit to see openly how Hashem is home, how he has, and how he wants so much to give to us. Wishing everyone a Gmar Chesima Tova and a good Nacht.
The way the Rebbe performed Kibbud Eim was just unbelievable. From the day she arrived in America, he saw her every single day. In spite of the tremendous amount of work and responsibilities that he had, he made sure that every single day he would visit his mother. We saw it.
My son, long may he live, has just left my home. He visits me daily, and twice on Friday. He makes my life much better. My apartment, where I am now, is not very large. It so happens that during the time he sits here with me, the room seems to be much bigger. During his visits, I don't at all feel many of the things that I find unpleasant, and under the inspiration of his noble devotion and greatness, I manage to live with him until his next visit 24 hours later.
As Zira Risose in the bottom Medroshes, it are noch geworden, Ashre Yiladete, Druv, wie da noch ist gewachsen, als Rebbe Shua ben Chananje, und mir sagt, das ist seine Raschwar. Okay, wir du will kamen Pomim. Also die Jechanan, wenn Sache heute meine Schwachen, sagt die Mischen. Als die Adem gesagt hat, dass lebt ewig, bei Sud, bei einer Misgabe verchul. Sie kommen zu der Beschur bei Chananya, ich darf sagen, Amayle Yine. Punkt, wie mir sagt, bei Sud, Amayle Yine. Sagt mir nach, was sie nehmen, die Meile, sein Meile ist, als Aschere Yeladete. Ich das nicht erinnern, bis wann das wird seine Meile.
Okay, sorry about that. Once again, Gmar Chasimatev, everybody, and good night. Thank you for joining.